Okay, when you're picking out hammers, some of the things you want to look for. You got the nice flat, smooth surface. Some of them have a round surface too, which is okay. This has got the nice little pointing pick end, so you can really get down and hit those high ridge spots. You have your straight bladed one. I like the ones with a curve on them personally. They give you a little more room to hook up into the inside of a fender or something. Our other one over here, this is more of the specialty hammer. It's got a shrinking head on it. All little serrations, as you beat on it against your block here, it'll actually start to shrink the metal down. So if you got a spot that got slightly stretched, you can shrink it a little bit. This end here is like a door skinning hammer. So if you're putting it on a door skin or whatever, it lets you get it in nice and tight along the jamb and beat that fold back around as you're skinning that door. We got a nice new set from Eastwood here. They're 4140 chromoly steel. It's been hardened and polished and precision ground, so really nice piece. All fiberglass handles, so it'll last a long time. Moving on to our dollies, they're all nice, got different shapes in them, so you can really get back into those body lines and cracks back behind something to hold it there, so you have something solid to hit on. Each of the dollies are hardened and hand ground, then tumble polished for a nice smooth, clean finish. We got a variety of shapes, get in different places and up nice and tight. And we also have a spoon, which lets you do some little bit lighter work, get in tighter places. And moving on to why we don't beat on, like, just pick up this hammer and start beating in control arm bolts or driving nails with these, is we don't want to mess up the surfaces. We want to keep them nice and smooth. They're going to get a little marring on them as you use them, but they're still nice and smooth, just like this one is. It just has a little marring. This is one of our ball peen hammers we use around the shop a lot, and it's been beat on to drive in control arm bolts. I think it's driven a nail or two. You can see how bad this thing's been chewed up. Now I can show you a little bit of this in action over here on our 68 Camaro hood. Common problem is the flex fan let loose and come up and got the hood real good right here. So we're going to do a little straightening on it. I'm using my shrinking hammer right now. This was a big stretch spot. I'm just trying to shrink it back down about level, then we'll start working out the fine dents. We use these portable work stands from Eastwood a lot. They're great for working on parts. You can set doors on them face down if you turn them a certain way without denting them. They're rated at 500 pounds, so you can put large, heavy parts on them. And they're a must-have for doing this kind of work. As I'm hammering this, I'm also moving my dolly across the bottom. You want to make sure you got this right underneath the dent area, so this is what you're hammering on. You aren't just hammering on pretty slowly, because then you're just going to make a big dent and it's not going to shrink. If we look up here on top, this was real bad, stretched out from the flex fan letting loose and coming up and hitting the hood. Just with the shrinking hammer, it's not totally down yet, but we got all the big ridges pretty much flattened out. They're almost shrunk back. I want to do a little bit of refinement work to these little high ridge spots, then we'll shrink it a little more, and it should come back real nice and easy. For a little bit of precision hammering, we're going to bring out this so we can get just the hammer on tip onto the high spots. You want to keep rubbing it. You learn to feel it so you can feel the dent this way. We got that pretty close. Hit a little bit more with the shrinking hammer, and I think we'll about have it. We got a little bit right here in this peak. For nice little fine stuff here, we can't get our dolly to the back side of this because of the inner brace, so, which really kind of sucks. But we can use either a little metal punch like right here. Oh, and you want to make sure you're using your beat on everything ball peen or some claw hammer or whatever. Something you're not messing up your body hammer faces. And just light little taps working right on the high spot, because we don't want to hit it too much or we'll make a big dent here. We just want to push the high down. Now you're trying to get it all the way flat or just a hair low. Your plastic fillers you want to keep as thin as possible. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of an oil can issue here where it keeps popping. It's a little high or it pops a little low, so time for the torch. when you're using the torch, you want to heat up your spot, don't get it quite glowing yet, then hit it so it's all expanded up, and then when you hit it with a cold rag, it all shrinks down and tightens together, and it takes your oil can away. It stiffens everything up for you. Here, let me give it just a little bit. So it isn't always an exact science. A lot of times it's just beat on it this way, beat on it that way until it works. So you just got to play with it, get it to move around until it comes down where it feels nice and flat for you. Now all this is ready to be ground off, and start with a little plastic filler for the repair. Okay, now we got this all hammered out and ground down. If we come back around with some 80 and just DA or paint around, feather edge it, so when we start with our plastic filler, we aren't putting it over the top of the paint, we're just coming up to it, and it'll make it real nice and easy when we come back to prime it and get ready for paint.